I gotta get out of this house. I am at the Ace Hardware in Jacksonville, and we're kind of on a mission. My daughter is trying to make a vivarium or some kind of possibly paludarium, but she's looking for plants that can go in there, things that are low light, maybe low to the ground, creeping fig, and maybe some other ones. But yeah, we're just kind of looking to see. This is one of our absolute favorite places to go.
Not one single door I surrender.
Hello Tarantula lovers, I'm Alex and you're watching Tarantula Haven. I apologize for my leave of absence. There was just not really a whole lot going on in the Tarantula Haven, anything that I felt like it was worthy of making a video. I did have something planned and I was working on it. It was going to be a video where I did that / feeding video for the Thanksgiving holidays. But my plans just kind of fell through. It just didn't work out. So I scrapped the whole idea and decided just not to do a video because it was too late for that. And then I just kind of needed to spend some quality time with my family because oftentimes I find myself locking myself in here and working on a video and sometimes even catching up on schoolwork. And I end up spending the entire weekend in this room and not really interacting with my family very much. So I kind of needed to do that. So that was pretty much why I didn't put out a video. But that family time kind of ended up coming in handy because it did give me material. Yes, we needed to get out of the house. We've been cooped up. My family, we've been pretty, I guess, faithful to restrictions and things like that. Personally, I don't want to get sick. I'm a teacher. I'm around kids all the time. And, you know, that's just one of those things that I feel like I just don't need to risk. So we try to safeguard as much as possible. And but we did end up having to leave the house and go out to a nearby town, which is Jacksonville, which is about an hour away from us. And the whole reason for the trip was basically to drop off a bird that my daughter was selling because her bird's bred and she had several babies. So she sells them off here and there. So we went to drop off a bird. But we always like to, I guess, utilize that time if we're going in that direction to at least shop for something and not make it a wasted trip. So after dropping off the bird, the whole purpose of our trip was to look for decorative wood for an enclosure that my daughter is working on because she's wanting to make a paludarium for her frogs. So that's kind of a little collaboration that we have going on, and you'll definitely see that in an upcoming video. But she's having a real hard time finding the right wood that she needs for her enclosure. She's just as picky as I am. Well, she's actually a lot more pickier than I am. So we decided that we were going to go look for wood. So we decided we were going to go visit nurseries and any pet shops that we knew that carried that kind of wood. And we knew that being Black Friday, those places would not be overly crowded. We don't do the whole Black Friday thing, even on when there's not a pandemic going on, because it's just too crowded, too crazy. So we just avoid that altogether and do most of our shopping online. But yeah, we decided we were going to check those places out and see if we could possibly find some wood. And it ended up being a pretty good adventure, especially for me, because it gave me material to do a video on, even though this is a feeding video, but it also gave me a little bit of extra material. And there's other things that came about because of it. So first of all, there's a little update. If you remember my video of my pairing of the Phidippus regis, which are the regal jumping spiders, Roberto, which was the male, has since passed away. He was a mature male, and I'm sure he was getting old. So once he bred with Peaches, he ended up dying, and that was it for him. I never did get to breed him with Tassel. Time just got by me, and then he ended up dying, so that just never happened. But Peaches was not exactly doing well. She did make an egg sac, and it seems like she either ate it or tore it down, something, but there was an egg sac there, and the next thing you know, there wasn't. So I don't know what happened there, if it wasn't viable or what, but I ended up not getting an egg sac out of it. So that's why I didn't post an update, because she should have made one within about 3 weeks, but she never did. So recently I had seen that she was kind of declining. She'd been spending more time toward the bottom of her enclosure, and she wasn't eating as regularly as she should, and her entire carapace had turned black. Normally it's like a fuzzy brown, but it had turned completely black, as if she'd lost all the fuzz out of it. So I figured she was probably declining and she was toward the end of her life, and sure enough, she did end up dying. So I told Karen, who was the one that donated them to me, and come to find out that a friend of hers had given her a bunch of wild-caught Phidippus regis jumping spiders, and she said something like 25, in fact, males and females. And she told me that she had way more than she could handle and that she wanted to deal with. 2 of the females were already gravid and had made egg sacs, and in fact I think one of them has already emerged, so she's got a bunch of little jumping spiders. And she had another one that made yet another egg sac. So she said, since you're coming into town, she donated several to me. So I've got let's see, what we got, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13 jumping spiders. And I think well, I think 3 of them or 4 of them are females. 1 of them has an egg sac, and the rest are males. So yeah, pretty cool. And so I ended up getting these little jumping spiders, and I'll show you what they look like in just a second. But I do have to rehouse them. I'm just not going to do it right now. So in our hunt for that decorative wood, I forgot to mention that we were also looking for plants because she was looking for specific plants that were low light and usable for a terrarium, vivarium, paludarium, and that kind of thing. But I was also looking for plants because I've got a little project that I'm working on myself. She donated her mini tall, her Exoterra mini tall to me since she wasn't going to use it. She was going to upgrade her frogs to the larger vivarium. And so I decided that I want to do something that's a little bit more naturalistic that involves plants and, you know, a bioactive enclosure with plants and lots of decoration inside of it, because I don't usually really decorate a lot of my enclosures, although I've kind of started doing it recently since I've gotten into the bioactive soil, and it's been working out really well that I want to do it some more. So I did find some plants that I like, and those are some that I plan on putting inside of my enclosures. And I ended up, we went to this last place. It was the last place we went to. It was an aquatic shop that specializes in saltwater fish. But they also have, you know, different types of wood. They have mopani, they have driftwood, they have manzanita and all that kind of stuff. So we decided to go in there to look and see if we could possibly find the wood that she was looking for. And much to my surprise, I thought this was pretty cool, but the owner mentioned that he'd been getting a lot of people that were interested in paludariums. So they had paludariums in there, and they also had supplies for paludariums. And I ended up finding this awesome piece of cork bark background. So this was just what I was looking for to do my enclosure, because I wanted to make some kind of naturalistic backdrop. I was thinking about doing the foam thing and you know, putting the cocoa fiber on it, but this is so much better. It's already pre-made. I don't have to do all that and deal with all that mess. So I was really happy that I found this. But as we were waiting to pay for our stuff and we were standing at the counter, he was busy talking to somebody. It's a real small shop, and it was just him and this other guy, and they were kind of busy with everybody. But as I'm standing there, I noticed that they had these little tubs that were sitting behind the counter. And me being the curious person that I am, when I see tubs, I'm like, oh, what is that? I told my daughter, I said, what is that? And we're kind of looking, and we saw that it said clown ISO. So I was like, I wonder if he's got isopods in there. So I waited till he finished up talking. I said, are those isopods? And he says, yeah. And he pulls them out and he shows them to me, and I about freaked out, because these are clown isopods, Armadillidium klugi Montenegro. And these guys are kind of pricey. And I asked him, how much are they? And he said $20 for a dozen, which is a little bit, might seem expensive to you, but it's actually really cheap. It's about half of what you would pay for online and so on. I've seen them sold for like $10 for $45 or so. And to make things even better, because it was Black Friday, I got them at 20% off. So that just completely made my day. And I ended up getting 2 tubs of it. My wife bought one for herself, but she gives them to me to raise up. So I ended up with 2 tubs of them. So that just really, really made my day. So a new addition to my isopods. My other isopods are doing great, and I'll have to do an update on that, because some of them have been breeding like crazy, and I've been really successful with those. So that was a really cool expedition for us, and it worked out really well for me. My daughter did find a little bit of what she wanted. She found a lot of plants. She did not find the wood that she needed. And my wife even found some plants for herself. So overall, it was an excellent trip. and I'll shut up about all that, and here is the feeding video, and I will see you at the end. so that does it for me today. I hope you enjoyed it. I'll have to keep in mind, when in doubt, always do a feeding video because you guys love those things. I'm sorry I was not fast enough on some of those reactions because they just moved out of the frame really fast before I can capture the whole thing, and I missed some of those takedowns, but I think overall it went pretty well. Sometimes they're not always feeding that great. I think I've got a whole bunch that are molting right now. They're going through that whole molting phase again before we get into winter, and so sometimes they can be a little bit difficult to get them to be good because a lot of your tarantulas are not eating. So definitely look forward to that Phidippus regis. We'll see what happens when that egg sac, when those babies emerge, and hopefully we'll get some more pairings out of those other females. And look forward to that paludarium build video that I'm collaborating with my daughter, and the video that I'm going to put together with me setting up my new enclosure on that mini tall, because I do plan on kind of doing it up really, really nice for a tarantula. So that wraps it up for me today. I hope you enjoyed it. If you did, please give me a like. If you want to see more, subscribe. If you want to support this channel, I have a Teespring store where I sell Tarantula Haven merchandise. And special thank you to my Patreon supporters. If you would like to become a Patreon supporter yourself, all the links are down below in the description. Until next time, keep loving them tarantulas.